Now, to tell us more about the program, we're now joined via Zoom by the JSE Head of SME Development, Cleola Kunene. Cleola, thank you so much for your time and a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Anati. Thank you for having me.
Now, Cleola, South Africa has staggering unemployment figures. How much of this program will enable these medium-sized businesses assist with economic growth in the country and perhaps more importantly, the challenge of unemployment in this country?
As you stated, Unati, we do have significant socioeconomic challenges in South Africa. And as the JSE, we want to do our part to help support economic growth. The Enterprise Acceleration Program is one of the solutions that we have embarked on to help enable growth as much as possible. The acceleration program specifically focuses on the growth of medium-sized companies. And if you look at the structure in terms of South Africa, we have quite a large number of medium-sized companies, but not a lot of large enterprises. And these medium-sized companies do provide significant number of employment for South Africans. But in order for them to just provide more, we have to help them grow. And the acceleration program is geared specifically to help them accelerate in a faster time. So what would have taken them longer to grow, we've kind of looked at and said, okay, how can we within a 9-month period help you accelerate that growth, which will then enable a more job creation in South Africa.
So how is this specific program different from similar programs that I could imagine that you are currently, running or are out there, in South Africa? And more importantly, you use the word propel them, to become bigger enterprises. What would that look like?
In South Africa, we have a lot of incubators, and what they address is the growth of small enterprises. If you look at the medium-sized space, there isn't a lot of support for medium-sized companies and a significantly not sufficient support for acceleration. And what acceleration means is that these companies are already growing, they're already established, but they need a different level of support. And this is why this program is so different, is that it provides a custom solution. So we look at each company in depth, we do an analysis of each company, and look at what are the triggers that would help them grow. Everything from helping them fast track ease of access to funding, helping them grow in new markets, especially in networks. We're using our networks as the JSE to help them grow in markets such as the US, UK, and Australia, which will help them, expand their business opportunities. And in addition, the program also provides and plugs into global mentorship opportunities. So these companies now get access to mentors that will help their businesses identify areas where they can change their strategies or just help enhance their growth solutions. So what would have taken them a longer period is then propelled, and that's essentially the mechanisms that we use to help them then accelerate.
I would imagine the reason that you're starting this program is because of the challenges that you have picked up. So talk to us about what exactly is preventing these companies from growing and fulfilling their potential. I mean, how much of their challenges are related to the climate in which they operate in?
I think there are a number of challenges in South Africa in general in terms of ease of doing business, but these companies are growing. I think it's not a case of them not growing. They are high growth companies. It is a case of accelerating that growth. So by helping them, for instance, with market access to other countries, one of the companies, for instance, in our pilot program wanted to grow in the US market. They were already in the US market, but by helping them plug into the right type of networks and understanding the landscape a little bit better, we help them accelerate that growth in that market. So they are already growing. It's just that the pace of growth isn't as significant as we see in other markets. So we're trying to really provide some guardrails and support just to help them improve that growth in a faster period.
Now, I mean, you say that these companies are already growing. So I'm wondering how much will this particular program help them, accelerate, as you say? And can you give at least some examples, some practical examples in terms of how you plan to do this?
Absolutely. So we've already gone through this program with a pilot group last year and have started a new cohort after that. And what we saw is where the initial revenue forecasts and markers were significantly, increased and accelerated with the program. As I mentioned, market expansion is one of the focus areas that we looked at. And by helping these companies fast track the expansion into new markets, we saw that what their initial revenue targets were or the initial expansion, we were able to increase much faster. So that in terms of their revenue, and in addition, the number of people that they employed also increased. In the new cohort, we've already within 3 months seen a commercial expansion. So we've helped these companies in terms of just helping them, guide them in terms of where they can expand commercially, plugging them into the right type of partnerships. And it's really what we do best. We bring buyers and sellers together, and we help bring people together, and that's one of the things that is unique about this program. But in addition, everything from access to capital, which is an important part for companies that are high growth. Sometimes it takes them up to 18 months, 24 months to get access to capital. And with this program, we've managed to fast track that and help them get, reduce the time that they get access to capital.
Cleola, as the head of SME, how much work is the JSE doing to do something similar? Because now we're talking about perhaps your medium-sized businesses, but to your smaller-sized companies that are operating in South Africa specifically, what are some of the programs that you have there?
So we have embarked on an incubator solution as well, but we are really doing it in partnership with a number of corporates and government organizations, because we identify there is a lot of saturation in the incubation space. So we've tried to zoom in on those areas where we can lend support. One of the things that we're doing in that space is amplification of these companies to investors and trying to attract more investment, and also just amplify the fact that we do have such amazing companies in South Africa, and lend our support in the SME space. But we're not doing it alone. We identify that there is, or we recognize that there is a lot happening in that space. So what we're really doing is seeing where can we provide as much support as possible, and where can we plug in to, in terms of doing what we do best, which is also helping ease access to capital.
And I mean, because they operate in a country like South Africa, which has been described as very unequal, and you talk about helping them access that capital. How do you do it? I mean, do you go out to these small companies, identify them yourselves, or are you expecting them to come to you for help?
So we still have listings, but we've recently launched a wholly owned FSP called JPP, which is JSE Private Placements, and it's a digital platform where companies can come. So we're using this platform to connect investors with SMEs that want to raise capital or have access to debt. And this is one of the mechanisms that we're using to really help these companies. So yes, we're going out engaging with companies, but we also have a number of companies that have already come to us and said, I want to raise capital. And this platform, apart from listing, which is still there, is one of the ways that we're providing easy and digitized access to capital.
All right, the JSE's head of SME Development there, Cleola Kunene, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.